The Jumanji franchise has lit up our cinema screens for the past 10 years or so with the new reboot films. However, I want to know is this original film of Jumanji still holding up in today's day and age after these reboot films have been released? Or are we talking about a film now that is so outdated that the reboot films are deemed as better? Let's find out in just a second. However, before we get into all that, let us know your thoughts on this film down in the comments down below. And so the first Jumanji movie, in my opinion, is and always will be the best. And that is simply because of nostalgia, maybe, that plays into it. And also simply for them using a physical board game rather than a video game. And they never really explained the transition between the board game going into a video game. That's just bizarre to me. However, maybe adapted throughout time. Who the fuck knows? However, what I would say is that in this film, it just feels so fresh for its time and felt unique and different. As this felt like the world's most dangerous board game, as creatures would jump out, the scariest creatures, and would play on people's fears. As like, you'd see spiders near the end of the film, and you'd see bats, you'd see all these crazy creatures that you never thought that these characters in a normal state, living their normal lives, would ever encounter in these dangerous situations. And also a fucking hunter hunting them down, in which is mental. But I think all these different things just made it quite unique. And another thing that was really exciting about this film was obviously Robin Williams being a part of it, as he really stepped up in the main character role of Alan Parrish, who had been trapped in this board game for so many years. After finding this board game, this mysterious board game that was hidden in dirt, he dug it out and then was like, oh, this is a board game, let's play it with me and my friend Sarah. And then he gets sucked into the game after basically releasing bats and finding out how dangerous this game is. And to me, I think it was great, the story of the Alan Parrish character had been trapped in that board game for so many years, almost like a generation, to the point when his parents have died and somebody else is living in his house. And the stories that are coming out that his parents killed him and the rest of it is all this new reality that Alan Parrish enters in once these two kids who are in his old house are playing that game and accidentally release Alan Parrish unknowingly to them that he was in the board game. And to me, that is just such a great story, because then he then seems like, oh, I'm free, I've got this world to live. But then what he doesn't realise is, since they've played the game, they've released animals, they've released creatures, and they need putting back into the game, and the only way to do that is by completing the game. And that's the adventure that we go on along the film. And I think that was fantastic, and Robin Williams really stepped up in that kind of role as the main character of Alan Parrish. He was funny, he was quirky, he was a great character, and to me this is quite an underrated movie of his, and to me not his best, as I think that might go down to something like a Mrs. Doubtfire or even Aladdin. People forget that he was the genie in Aladdin, but I think he has been in so many great projects. However, since there isn't much to talk about, I want to talk about the ending, in which was a great end to the film, as it sort of reversed all the problems that were created with Alan Parrish at the start of the film, being stuck in the board game from playing this really dangerous board game that he'd never even seen before. Plays it, gets stuck in the board game, then they have to finish the game. They finish the game with the new kids that live in that house, and after all this journey of being hunted down, after being chased down by different kinds of creatures, being attacked by mosquitoes, all these crazy horrible fears coming to life, they finally complete the game. And everything that had happened had been reversed, so him being stuck in the board game never happened. And I thought that was different and quite creative, because they didn't have to do that. They could have just ended it and gone, oh, what you two gonna do now, and the rest of it, and then they just go on and live their separate lives. However, the effects of that reversed the time that they'd lost and sort of put them back into the positions where they were. And I think that was great. I think that gave Alan Parrish the opportunity then to talk to his father again, in which he missed, and you could tell he misses him in the future part, as they had a big argument and then he got sucked into the ball game. And to me, all these different kind of things is just so magical in this film and adventurous. And to the point of where when they meet up at the end of the film, where they're like, we've gone through a life-changing experience just by finishing the board game, I think that worked, in my opinion. So to summarise Jumanji then, for me, this is without a shadow of a doubt better than the reboot movies, and for me, an absolute classic, hence why I rate this movie an 8 out of 10 and a classic film. So let me know down in the comments down below, is this one of the best films you've ever seen, one of the worst, is it good, is it bad, is it terrible? Let us know, all that jazz down in those comments down below. Also, if you haven't done so yet, hit that like button if you enjoyed this film, or if you've enjoyed this review even. Appreciate, hit that notification bell, and I shall see you fine folks in the next one. Later.